wonderful people, welcome back to AIC. My name is Rachel. If you're new on this channel, thank you for subscribing and watching my videos. I talk about all sorts of things, from actuarial science to spirituality to my lifestyle. I vlog sometimes. So today we are diving more into something that I don't really talk about on my channel, but I would like to focus more on that as well, which is about finances. A lot of people ask me, oh, how do you budget, or like where do you buy your clothes and all of that, or like you're always shopping. I'm not always shopping, but I would say that I'm very intentional about where I spend my money and just like how I spend it as well. I also want to say that this is not any form of like professional advice to anyone. It's solely based on my personal experience. I also want to say that I have 4 on-campus jobs, and these jobs, even though they kind of pay minimum wage, they kind of help me a lot to make some of these financial choices that I'm going to talk about in this video. But also I've had like an off-campus internship that paid me quite well for me to be able to show things that I'm going to mention in this video. And as well, just having the financial discipline and putting away money for the things that you want to do. So I'll say first thing first, definitely traveling. When I came to college, that was like a priority for me. I wanted to travel the USA. Whiteberg is kind of in rural Iowa, and I just wanted to experience the rest of the USA. And first thing, I think the first place I traveled to was my end of my first year. I went to Miami, and I traveled alone at first. I traveled alone. It's a long story how I ended up traveling alone, but either way, it ended up being one of my best experiences. I think my budget was around $600. Like that includes like the flight ticket was like around 300 and something, my accommodation, activities. I think I kind of underestimated activities and food, because food is hella like expensive in these big cities. But the good thing is I ended up meeting like so many people, then ended up just doing like most of the things for free, because you know it's Miami and there's always stuff to do, and people just like, oh, come here, like free stuff, whatever. Like I've met amazing people, I made new friends, and like so I ended up having really a good time. And I also traveled to LA. I traveled a couple of times to Chicago. I'm actually like planning on a vacation for Easter break, but I'll shoot another video for that. But basically I'll just say like I spent around like 3,000 in total if I have to put together like all the times that I've traveled while in college, how much in total I've spent if I put together all my traveling expenses that were like for leisure or like. And then the other thing that I bought, or that I did, okay, so another thing that I bought was a car. I bought a car last year around May, a few days before my birthday. And this was something, I got my license last year around January. I wasn't sure if I wanted to own a car just because I'm graduating, and I didn't know if it was a good idea to own a car. But because COVID hit, I was going to do my internship in a different state, and I was gonna go to my office every day, and it's about 15 minutes away from the apartment that I was gonna stay at. I figured that having my own car would give me the convenience that I need. And so it's just a thought. I prayed about it, and I was like, oh, you know what, like I saved up so much money like throughout, and I'm gonna make more money during my internship, so I should just buy a car. And I started asking around. I went to some dealers. I went with my host parent to some dealers. But then I also like, I think the second day when I was looking for cars, I met my friend who's like, who owns a car? And I was like, oh, you know what? Like I'm looking for a car and I have this budget. Do you have any ideas? Because I bought a secondhand car, and it's like, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm graduating and I won't be staying in the US. So I'm planning on selling my car, but not now, because he still had a few months to stay here. But then he saw my need for the car, and then he texted me later and was like, you know what, I can actually sell you my car. I know you need like a car right now, and even though I'm still here for a few more months, I don't think I'll really use it as much, you know. So he ended up selling me his car, and I bought it. It's a VW Rabbit think 2008 or 9, I'm not sure, but it was like in good condition, never had accidents, like really soft. Like I just love it. It's like a two-door, so it's like cute for a college student. So yeah, I bought my car, and that budget, like including like buying the car and maybe some extra costs like registration and stuff, was maybe like 3,500. And yeah, that was it. And I paid it cash, and then I just went to do my internship. But then when I went to do my internship, it ended up being virtual, so that was kind of disappointing given that I bought a car. But then again, I realized that it was really beneficial because I was having this car while being in a totally new state and a new place. So it was easier for me to get around. I don't have to like order Ubers or like Lyfts or whatever. It was so easier for me to get around, do stuff, see the place, go shopping, like grocery shopping every time. Like I also visit my friends on campus. So in the summer, owning my car was definitely something that benefited me a lot. But as soon as school started, I kind of started feeling the burden because I wasn't making the money that I was making in my internship anymore, because the internship was just a summer internship. So I came back to school, so I was now making minimum wage as always. And I have to pay insurance, which for me was not anymore, was around $70 per month. And maintaining the car, paying for parking space as well, because we have parking lots on campus. So you choose the kind of parking lot that you want to park in, and I chose the one that's closer to my complex, and it turns out to be the most expensive one as well, so I had to pay for that as well. Paying for gas, all of that. But for gas, it wasn't really a burden, simply because I don't really go anywhere. So coming back on campus, it was also like starting to get a little bit cold, so it was demotivating to go out or just use the car. So it really ended up being kind of like a burden for me, like having to pay insurance per month for like, you know, something that you don't really use, you know, and having to pay for parking space as well. It was kind of becoming a burden. I still have my car, but the good thing is that I'm also selling it because I'm graduating and I'm moving to a bigger state. So I don't want to own a car in that stage. I just want to take public transportation, but I'm also looking for like a place that's closer to my workplace, so I don't have to worry about that when it comes to work, right? So that's it. And yeah, I would say that this financial choice was definitely worth it. At the time when I took this choice, it was worth it. But then again, I'll say that when I came back to school, it wasn't worth it. It was more of like a liability for me. And I love my car, but I'm also just ready to lift that burden off me. And then the third thing that I think that I really spent on during my time here is electronics. I feel like I've been like buying electronics. Okay, first thing first, I've been using a lot of like phone contracts. So what happens is that I sometimes, depending on the phone that I have, especially since I started my YouTube channel, I wanted to have good video quality for my channel. And so for me, it's important that like I focus on what kind of phone I have to actually take my videos, because I don't have a professional camera, and I didn't really think of like having a professional camera given that I have a good phone with a good memory and everything, and I have the editing software on my Mac as well. So I bought like, maybe let me say 3 phones ever since I came to college. I think I came with a phone. My first phone, I got it from my host parents for free, so thank you so much if they're watching these. And then my second phone, I got it on contract because I just wanted a new phone and I started my channel. So I got a new phone on contract, so I've been paying like, I think at the time it was an iPhone 8 Plus, and I was paying like $60 per month, which is cheaper than having your own contract, because what they did is they just added me over their contract, and it becomes cheaper than me starting my own contract, right? So I was paying them like 60 or something like that per month. And then my second one was Access Max, which, so I paid off my other phone, then I upgraded to that one, and then I think I was paying $73 per month. Yeah, I stayed with that one for a while. I think the iPhone 11 came out. I didn't really like want to upgrade to that, so I stayed with it for a while. And then when the 12 came out, I think Apple has this thing where they kind of decrease your video quality when they release new models. So I'm like, yeah, I need to upgrade again. So I upgraded to an iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is the one that I'm using right now for my videos. And right now I pay around $86 per month. Yeah, which is not too bad. I'll definitely pay it off before I move as well. Then another electronic that I bought was definitely my Mac. It is also something that I bought my laptop, I think, with cash. Yeah, definitely. I didn't buy it on credit. I bought it cash, and it was like 1,500, I think, because it's a 2020 version. But not just that, like I think when I was ordering it, I'd upgraded a lot of features on it to make it like usable and just like mobile for me. Especially, I definitely wanted it not just for editing my YouTube videos. I also wanted it to be able to take up any of like my software programs that I use for some of my computer science classes, because my old Mac was really working slowly. The system was kind of like crashing, and it was just not working as expected. So that's why I wanted to upgrade and get a laptop that's gonna stay with me for a while. Investing in my MacBook is something that's worth it. I'm so happy about that. I don't regret anything about that. And the fourth thing that I will talk about is definitely something that I did with my internship money. A lot of people are like, oh, you had an internship, you're being paid, well, just money. And personally, like, I wasn't like listening to people, but I thought there's so many like long-term stuff that I want to do, and I need to start now, right? If I'm making money, why not? So I decided to start off by building my room at my grandparents' homestead. If most of you know, I don't know if you have checked some of my videos on this channel, you get a glimpse of like how our traditional homesteads look like. It's basically like an area, and they're like rooms and huts inside for different people and different reasons, right? So like in my culture, most of the times, like when you are working or you graduate, people expect you to build your own room so that when you go for holidays or whatever, you have somewhere to sleep. Even if you bring a guest or you bring your friends, they also have somewhere to sleep with you, so that you don't sleep in other people's places or like your grandparents' huts or whatever. So that's what I did. I would say that's where most of my like savings from my internship went to, because it's like a 2-bedroom building with like living area and a shower and like a restroom, so like basically a bathroom. So that on its own took up so much. It took up so much. I think, okay, I'm not sure of exactly like how much it ended up being in US dollars, but I can say in Namibian dollars it was definitely like to 60,000. And we are still not done, because my mom is the one that was helping me like do the whole project. We are still not done. Like the building is finished, but we still have to like finish or modify the inside, like putting in tiles, the paintings. But in terms of like the building and like the structure and the windows and the doors and everything, it's finished. So that I'm really, really grateful for. That also just God gave me like the wisdom and the opportunity to actually be able to do that. So when I went home, we're actually able to sleep there, even though it's not done. At least we had like a place to sleep there with my siblings, and I'm just excited to like finish it entirely once I'm in a financial position to do so, hopefully in the next few months once I start working. So yeah, I definitely think this is worth it because it's a long-term thing, and since it's sort of like something that I would say I'm expected to do at some point in my life, I thought it's better I do it now, even though like I'm not a graduate yet, or like I'm not done with school yet, just so that when I finish with school, then I look more on like bigger projects such as my own house or investment property or stuff like that. So it really feels good having that being finished right now. So yeah, that was definitely something that I am happy I did, and I'm just glad that I did it. And then another big financial choice that I did while in college. Okay, this is just like okay, a sum of stuff that I did. This one is kind of like, guys, I bought clothes, especially my first 2 years in college. I bought clothes and shoes. Yo, okay, like right now I gave away most of those things. I don't even have most of those things. I'm graduating, I'm leaving, but not just that, like I'm also learning to not just like shop too much. But I bought clothes, shoes, wigs. My first year and my second year, definitely I would say most of my salary went to that. So I am just like, I don't know if it is worth it. I would say honestly, like I would have done better, especially like my first year, but I guess it was the excitement of like being in a new place, but also having the accessibility of the stuff, because everything was just right there. I could literally just go on a website and order anything I want and get it in the next few days or next week or whatever. So having that accessibility didn't make it any easier for me. I was just like shopping. It was like my form of therapy. It was my form of having fun. It was like everything to me. I bought so many clothes. I bought so many shoes. I bought so many wigs. And I would say like I really spent too much. I don't really have like all the receipts of that, but I'll approximate maybe to 2,000 like overall, just like stuff that I bought here. Yeah, it was just like crazy, but that's definitely something I do kind of regret. But now I don't, because when I buy clothes or when I buy something, it's because I feel like I deserve it, or like, you know, I haven't really bought anything in a while, so I deserve to buy something nice for myself. But other than that, I think most of the things were a little bit hard to accept that I made those choices. I could have probably done a better job. So there's that. Yeah, guys, also I'll say that I was probably fortunate and privileged enough to have had full scholarships, I think, from my second year. So because I know that a lot of students, like even if they are working on campus or they have off-campus jobs, they have to prioritize other things like paying the school. That's where most of like their savings go to. I'll say just something that really helped me a lot was having like a few external scholarships in addition to the big 2 scholarships that I already have at the school. They helped me like focus on some of my own like financial goals instead of like constantly working for one bag or like working to just pay them. So yeah, there's that, and I am just happy that I made some of those choices. Some of them I learned from them, and in the process I'll just keep learning more. As you earn more, you also start learning more about managing finances. You also start learning more about what kind of things you need to spend on. But I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited to see what's ahead and what kind of stuff I'm more likely to be spending on, especially that I'm gonna be like going to my mid-20s and like focusing on stuff like having a home, focusing on stuff like having different streams of income and things like that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and do come back. Don't forget to subscribe, do like and comment, and share it with your family, friends, and loved ones. Thank you for coming. Have a great one.